We are live? Awesome. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's meeting. We are at a regular council meeting on Tuesday, March 10th, and I officially call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. And before we get started, I just want to recognize that as we gather here in Beaumont, we always want to acknowledge the land that we're blessed to live and work on and the people who came before us, to honor those who came before us. We value the enduring relationships we have with the French pioneers and the Indigenous peoples, as well as those who continue to share their history, knowledge, and culture with our community. We're also very thankful for the generations whose dedication and faith helped shape this community into the vibrant city that it is today. And alongside of that, Beaumont loves to recognize and support the valuable contributions of organizations and initiatives that take place in our community that make a positive impact. So today I wanted to make two proclamations, and these proclamations will be posted on the City of Beaumont's website during their designated observance period to ensure that we properly recognize the organizations and continue to highlight them. Take a seat, that's fine. So with that, I hereby proclaim International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, which is on March 21st of 2026, as well as World Down Syndrome Day, which is March 21st, 2026. And on behalf of Council, just thank you for all those organizations that give meaning to these important days and significance to our community. With that, we're going to go into section number 2, which is the adoption of the agenda. And I believe we have some additions. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a presentation, Mr. Gill. He's prepared 6 slides for this evening's council meeting. The slides have been distributed to council and put on your desks. Additionally, we've printed some extra copies for anyone attending the meeting in person this evening. Mr. Gill has asked if his slides could form part of the regular agenda for this evening. The meeting procedures bylaw does not permit for open forum registrations the ability to submit materials for inclusion in the agenda. Should council wish to consider this request, then a motion to adopt the agenda with the addition of the materials would need to be made.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, so any discussion on this from council? Is that permissible at this point? Or do we just simply go to a vote?
If there's a council member who wishes to move forward a motion to adopt the additional materials, they could put on their microphone and move that. Or if there's a councillor who would wish just to adopt the agenda as presented, they can do that as well.
Okay, thank you for the direction. Councillor Cole-Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be pleased to move that we adopt the additional materials into the agenda.
All right, any discussion on that? Then we will vote. I just put it there. All right. And that passed. We are missing Councillor Natellenbos tonight, so we just have 6. So that carried unanimously. With that, is there anything extra that needs to be done here at this point? Okay, so that's finished up with the adoption of the agenda. We will now go to open forum. So welcome, Mr. Gill, if you want to step forward. If you want to just press the button for the microphone so I can turn on the mic and then just introduce yourself, that'd be awesome. And your co-partner here.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Kashmir Gill, and I'm very pleased to have Yolanda Nichols join me, as well as my pickleball community friends in the chamber. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the Beaumont pickleball community, which now includes more than 300 residents, and it's growing. We have opportunities in our community, and for the work already done to explore the possibility of building dedicated outdoor pickleball courts in Beaumont. Our goal tonight is very simple: to provide a brief update on the growth of pickleball in Beaumont and to respectfully encourage council to move forward with funding for the proposed 8 outdoor courts in the upcoming budget cycle. Next slide, please. We're going to quickly look at the growth of pickleball. Pickleball is currently the fastest growing recreational sport in North America, and Canada is seeing the same trend. More than 1.3 million Canadians now play the sport, and participation continues to grow rapidly amongst family, youth, and seniors, active seniors. People enjoy pickleball because it is easy to learn, social and inclusive, and a great way to stay active and healthy. What is particularly exciting is that it brings together multiple generations, from teenagers to retirees, all playing together on the same court. Next slide, please. In Beaumont, the sport has grown dramatically over the past few years. Our local pickleball community now includes over 300 participants, and the number continues to increase as residents move into our rapidly growing city. At the moment, outdoor pickleball in Beaumont relies mainly on 6 shared courts with portable nets, where pickleball lines are marked on tennis courts. Until last year, there were only 4 shared courts. These facilities have served us well, but we believe they are no longer adequate. Players often have to wait for court availability, and evening players are limited. Because of a number of these factors, many Beaumont residents are increasingly traveling to neighboring communities to play. For example, nearby municipalities such as Leduc and Edmonton have expanded their pickleball facilities in response to community growth. While we are happy to see regional investment, we would also love to see Beaumont residents able to play in their own community. It must also be noted that non-dedicated courts present additional challenges. Putting up and taking down nets and hardware are heavy, challenging for both seniors and children, and there are some operational issues such as access, vandalism, and theft. Why this project makes sense? As taxpayers, we recognize financial constraints and value for money is important for all of us. Compared with many recreational facilities, pickleball courts are a relatively modest investment that can serve hundreds of Beaumont residents every week. Few recreation projects can engage so many residents across so many age groups with such a simple facility. So this project truly provides high community value impact. Dedicated courts would serve several hundred residents weekly, support all ages and abilities, reduce tennis scheduling conflicts, enable leagues and small tournaments. Pickleball courts are a truly affordable recreation investment with high usage. Next slide, please. We also want to acknowledge the thoughtful discussion Council has already had regarding pickleball facilities. In 2004, administration recommended against proceeding with a design study due to financial constraints. Council, however, saw the potential and directed administration to continue exploring the design phase. Then in 2025, administration recommended moving forward with budgeting for 8 new courts near the RCMP site. Although the project was not funded in that cycle, we understand the many competing priorities Council must consider. Tonight, we simply want to provide an update and express the community's continued support for the project. In summary, this project aligns strongly with Beaumont's goals of promoting healthy lifestyles, building community connections, and supporting recreational opportunities for residents of all ages. There's a strong case to be moving forward now. Our population is increasing, bringing many new residents seeking active lifestyles. Secondly, community demand is already established with hundreds of active players. And third, moving forward, this project would demonstrate Beaumont's commitment to building a healthy, active community. With that, thank you for your attention. We'd be happy to answer any questions, and I brought Yolanda Nichols to do all the hard work.
You did great. Thank you so much. And I agree. It is a wonderful sport, very, very, for all ages. So thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I know that you're probably aware of that we did budget for some pickleball courts near the tennis court. You're aware of that?
Yes, we are.
As part of our last budget, right? So I don't know if any councillors have any questions, but I'll open it up here for the councillors.
Yeah, thanks for, definitely pickleball is a extremely explosive, fast-growing sport. There's no doubt about that. And unfortunately, in our climate, we don't have a chance to play all year round, but certainly for 4 months out of the year, let's hope 6, maybe 8. So that's really good that we set some place aside. My questions are, as an association, have you put together a pickleball association for one thing? Is that correct? There is a pickleball association?
There has been some discussions around that, Councillor Hyde. I think our goal is really to start putting people together and get some of the formal structure involved. It does require investment of time and so forth, with mostly seniors with their time schedule, traveling and so forth, and vacations. We found it difficult, but it is our intention to move forward in that direction.
I guess through the mayor and to yourself there, Mr. Gill, what I'm getting at is if this pickleball court is established, would there be an association to look after it? Other than what are the expectations of the city for in the pickleball standards? Like, is there going to be an association that can be there to make sure that there's small maintenance? I'm not talking about large maintenance, of course, or anything like that. But how would that come across that the pickleball association would be able to be there to make sure that things are running smoothly at the pickleball courts?
That's a great question. I think our community is very engaged. We want to be supportive. We work with city council to see whatever we can do on our part. Having said that, many other communities, like Leduc just built 12 courts, Spruce Grove, and Edmonton has many, and those are primarily maintained by the city. So even in Leduc, there are no formal organizations. But I think our group is very committed. We would like to work with you to see how we can make it happen.
Great. Well, that's what I'm hoping to do, a collaboration with the city on some sorts. I always find that that's the best thing, is to have something between people that really love the sport, and collaboration with the city is always a great thing. So I'm hoping that's the way this kind of flows. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Van Newkirk?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for putting the presentation together tonight and coming in and reminding council and the community of all the work that's been done to get to this point. I think that's the really important piece here, is that there's been quite a bit of work done through the pickleball community, important advocacy through all of the channels, through the Sports Rec and Culture Committee, through a couple of names of that, and advocacy to previous council, administration, and there's been a real commitment to working with the city and council along the way. So I just think it's really important for the group to have been here tonight to remind everyone of that. And yeah, I too am hopeful that we can find a way to make this come to life, and hopefully in the next budget. So I can't say yes to that tonight because you never know what's going to pop up, but all the work is done, and the options have been looked at, and the spot has been picked, and the plan is there. So it's kind of right in front of council at this point. So thank you for that reminder.
Thank you, Councillor Van Newkirk. I think you've captured the essence of what we've been doing for the last 3-4 years, working with council, working with yourself. In particular, you have been very supportive through the Parks and Recreation and other City of Beaumont committees. So our goal is always to be very open and transparent and see what we can do to work together.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Any other councillors have any questions? No? Okay. And we are on the same page, right? Just like with Councillor Hyde asked you the question about that, I think it's really always more powerful when there's a portion of the community rises up to collaborate on certain projects that are of passion to the community. That makes it a much more richer experience, but much more doable. And just to reiterate what Councillor Van Newkirk said, it's already in the works, but it's a matter of timing, I think, for us in terms of cost and how it's going to play out. So if we can keep the conversation open and work together to bring this to the finish line at some point, I think that's all of our goals, right?
Yeah, I think my colleague wants to say a few words as
Yeah,
well.
for sure,
She may.
for sure.
Well, I don't really know what to add other than pickleball is being taught at the schools right now. Lots of little ones are wanting to practice their skills. When they go to the tennis courts, it makes it difficult for them to set up the courts or the nets.
Yeah.
The bins are too heavy and it's difficult to set it up. Not only that, it's then also a question as to who supervises them. So at one point we were there were 10-year-olds that wanted to play. We helped them set up the net, but then we were leaving and then they were still playing. And it's like, so do we put it in the bin now? Do we tell them to go home? That's why it's so critical to have one that's kind of a permanent site with the nets already set up so we can just kind of come and go. We bring our paddles, we have our balls, and we play. And it's very much a community effort. At one point, the administration had recommended that we go to the different rinks and play at the different rinks. But each one of those rinks would only have 1 or 2 courts. And they would still require you to set up the nets. And it's not really a sport that you just play with a couple of people. Like, it's very interactive, it's very social, it's been a wonderful outlet for all of us. And so, yeah, we would really like to see this coming to fruition. So can I ask a question?
Yeah. go
So
ahead.
when you mentioned that you might look at it for the next budget, so are we talking, like, when would this next budget be?
Well, I can't make any promises about that. That's something that we have to discuss at council, but we made some hard decisions the last budget. There was a lot of things that we wished we could have passed, but it would have put an undue burden on our community as well. So it's just a matter, I think, of timing and prioritizing. So I personally can't give you that timeline, but that's why I said let's keep the conversation open and just let's walk it out together.
Oh, I certainly appreciate that you have lots of balls in the air that you need to juggle and do that. I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, is there an annual budget that's being looked at, or
Yes,
not really?
sorry,
Okay.
yes. Every year, there's a budget at this point.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Appreciate
I also
it.
want to thank all the other picklers behind me for.
Yes, thank you so much for coming in.
So thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All right, we're going to go play ball.
Thank you. Enjoy. All right, so we will continue on here in terms of our agenda. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the evening. Bye. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome to stay. Or go play. Okay, we're going to continue on here with our agenda. And we have a consent agenda, the adoption. We need to have the adoption of the consent agenda or pass. All right, so I will need a counselor. First of all, if there's anything that a counselor wants to take from the consent agenda, now is the time. Councillor Colesmith?
I'm just ready to make.
Okay,
Nobody
make
else.
the motion. Okay, Councillor Penrod?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to clarify that the agenda I have in front of me is the most, yeah, okay, so the Innovation Park piece is on consent agenda.
Yeah, because the 10.1 is for a closed session if we were.
Yeah, so I'd like to pull 10.1 off the consent agenda, please.
Okay. Any discussion around this? Okay, so that would mean that we would have a closed session later on by pulling this off. Okay. Okay, so no discussion. Then I'll go to Councillor Colesmith.
Thank you. I'd like to move that council consent to approve the following agenda items without debate. 5.1 regular council meeting minutes, February 4th, 2026. And
Thank
that council accept the minutes of February 24th, 2026, regular council meeting as presented.
Awesome. Any discussion around that? All right, we'll go to a vote. And carried unanimously. 6-1. Awesome. Thank you. right, let's go on now to 6.1. And I believe that is Mr. Boyachuk, number 8. There you go. And this is the 2026 budget adjustment carry forward of 2025 projects and adjustments. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Administration is bringing forward this report for consideration to address basically largely accounting housekeeping through year-end process. So as we go through year-end, which we're working on right now, we come across items that have not finished for 2025 that require be moved into 2026 to finish projects. So the majority of these carry forwards are capital, but the few that we'll talk about on the operating side. So there's 4 items right now. So 2 items are in flight. One is the ERP and one is the festival event strategy. Those are underway. They are anticipated to be...
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you for the purpose of those watching or for the public.
Enterprise Resource Planning project, which is our new financial accounting software. Thank you for the correction, Madam Mayor. So that is anticipated to be completed later in 2026. So we're requesting to move both the expenses and the reserve funding that has been set aside for that into 2026.
Okay.
As well as the festival and event strategy is underway. That is also anticipated to be completed in 2026. And then we have 2 small operating purchases that have been ordered but not yet received. So we need to carry the dollars over into the following year in order to properly recognize those funds from accounting. So that's the operating side, and that's fairly simple. The capital side, we made some major changes to the budget process last year. Normal process before I got here was I'm going to just go on a little tangent here. So normally you would budget a project, okay? You're going to build a small facility. It might cost $2 million. We would budget for 20 for the design, and we spend $100,000. We would guess, as we come through for the next budget process, we would make a new capital project for $1.9 million, guessing what we think we might spend by the end of the year. And then we go into the subsequent year, and we have $1.9 million dollar project, and we say we're going to spend $1 million. And now we do another capital project for $900,000 the subsequent year. Now you have 3 capital projects for a single capital project that it's very hard to see visibly. It's really hard to calculate how much is left, right? So we adopted a new process where we make a capital approval. It is in effect for the life of the procurement or construction or whatever that needs to be done, not subsequent capital projects that make it really hard to track truthful costs, get your POs in order. There's a whole bunch of mechanical problems with doing it that way. So we've made this new process where one project for life, but for accounting purposes, I can't have all of these old projects that are on the books that we're going to still do. And if you notice on the item, it says we have like $12 million left to spend. We might have only approved, and I'm just making up numbers, we might have only approved $5 million to spend in 2026. When the auditors show up and we spend this $12 million plus the $5 million, our budget only said $5 million. Well, how did you spend $17 million? You're wildly inappropriately spending. No, we have these open projects. So this is just the formal exercise to bring those costs into 2026 so we're in alignment with the auditors when we spend those dollars. So the authority is in place, the funding is in place, no new dollars are being asked. It's just literally an accounting exercise to get authority in 2026 for those projects. There is during our housekeeping and year-end analysis, we did come across one project, so that's the SCADA project in the report that is required for our levy-supported utility projects. We've discovered that we're not going to be able to make budget and we need additional funds, so we're here to request, in all this is housekeeping accounting, additional funds to pay for the increased costs on this project, and they are supported entirely by developer levies, so no additional cost to the municipality. So that was a really convoluted way to go through that whole really report, but I hope it's much simpler of the understanding of what this is, largely accounting mechanics and housekeeping and not voodoo or anything like that. This is more simple like that, but it's just stuff we need to do to dot I's and cross T's for next year's audit. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
I appreciate the simplicity. Sounds like you just want to bring clarity and transparency to the numbers, which I'm all for. So I'm going to go over to Councillor Van Newkirk.
Yeah, thank you. Very much transitional at this point. If you look forward to the next time you give this type of an update, will it still be this format, or is this a transitional format that'll be updated for future? Like, how do you see that? How do you see that looking?
So I anticipate this process will continue to be the same. What I think you're driving for, Councillor, is some more the visibility and transparency to the capital and all that stuff. And that will come
Yeah, how will it
at
be
the end
broken
of,
apart?
when we bring the annual report and the audit findings. So that's still going to be in April, where we'll bring that all, and we'll talk about all the capital projects. That $12 million we'll have, here's all the projects, here's the status, here's all of the elements that break it down.
Yep.
We're not ready to have that conversation yet because of the timing of year end, and we're getting all of our statements in order. But in order to, in good faith, continue with spending, we wanted to get this on the book. So we bring this in advance of the year end report. We could wait, but then I'd prefer to get all above board as fast as possible. We know the final numbers, so let's ask for the carry forward now, and then we can speak to all the reporting and transparency pieces when we come with the year end report.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you anticipated where I was going with that, and thank you.
Councillor Cole-Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to hear one more time the increase to the SCADA project, and it's funded through the levies. Can you just...
So thank you for the question. I'll let my partner here speak to the what's behind the pieces, but this is an entirely developer levy funded project, so it's utility developer levies. This development levy projects, it needs to get done, so Mr. Lewicki will speak to the escalations, but the increase is funded from developer levies, not from us, and the only real impact would be other future water projects, if we don't get any other levies in, might be harder to fund, but levies are coming in all the time, so it's really not going to be an issue as far as anything from the city's perspective. So pass it over to Ms. Lewicki to speak to the escalations.
Go ahead, Mr. Lewicki.
Through the Mayor to Councillor Cole-Smith.
Go ahead, Mr. Lewicki.
Through the Mayor to Councillor Cole-Smith. So essentially, we encountered some challenges related to hardware programming, as each individual piece had to be manually reprogrammed. So that drastically extended the complication and timing and budget for the project. Wasn't feasible to pause the work as delays would jeopardize reliability of the utility systems, increase overall time and to complete, and as well as just increased costs because of additional contractor costs that we would have if we had to wait and pause the work. So yeah, that was essentially the rationale for continuing the project. It just would be too much of an impact to the existing utility system.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councillor Penrod.
Thank you. I'm kind of with Councillor Cole-Smith, who has a much deeper background in this, so I hesitate to ask if he's satisfied further, but my wondering is, was it the developers that were asking for additional scope on this work, or were we looking at it and saying, like, we're already in here, we're doing the work, here's a chance to future-proof a bit? If you can just speak a little bit to the cost overruns here. And I recognize you've already started to do that.
Through the Mayor to Councillor Penrod, it wasn't a scope change, it was just more complications with the existing scope and the challenges of, I mean, I won't get into a bunch of detail with the technical side of it, but it was just a lot of challenges related to connection of hardware to software and everything talking to each other. And this is something that it's not, this isn't limited to Beaumont. Other municipalities are also struggling with SCADA issues relating to how different infrastructure or assets are talking to each other and so forth. So we've seen that with some of our neighboring municipalities as well, and we're actually working regionally to try to figure out some of these issues so that we can kind of head them off in the future, but it's not an uncommon problem.
Yeah, I appreciate that, to know that we're doing what we can to course correct and learn and avoid it in the future, so.
Absolutely. We're always looking for continuous improvement opportunities and ways to try to streamline and make this work more efficient.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Councillor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess my question is maybe a little bit similar to what Councillor Penrod just had asked, but I know that we've got some capital projects that are coming up. Is there likely that we're going to sort of need to do that again with those, and because they're water and wastewater upgrades?
Through the mayor to Councillor Murray, essentially, I mean, we try to be able to have contingencies in place to allow us to continue with work if there are any unforeseen circumstances. In this case, that was a bit of a problem, so we had to continue. I mean, if we come into a position where a lot of times what happens is we'll do a design, we'll get an estimate, we'll have approved money to build an asset or do an improvement. If our tender pricing comes back above our approved budget, well, then we have to make a decision. Do we cancel? Do we decrease scope? Do we go back to council and ask for more money? So there's opportunities for us to proactively address some of these issues, and that is our preferred course of action. I can't say that we won't have projects that might exceed budget, but of course we would proactively try to come back to council with that, or look at contingency and how we can work within the project budget without going over. In this case, it was unavoidable because, again, there wasn't a scope change. It was the current scope was unable to be completed without this additional fund, without the additional funds.
Okay. I think that answers my
Does that
question.
answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. So it sounds like when you go to do a renovation and you realize you're going to need some more tools or some more money to complete this job because you just found some other problems. Is that the way it works?
To the mayor, to some degree. There's also a lot of variability, especially, I mean, we can look at take a snapshot of right now with escalating fuel costs and so on that definitely come back and will impact some of our tender pricing that we receive. So estimates that we were getting in the fall for designs could drastically differ from what we're seeing come back for tenders in early 26. So those can impact things. And there's also, we can run into problems during the project scope. I mean, where any excavation work, you can't see under the ground. So you could be digging, you could run into lines that weren't there that need to be addressed, underground tanks, difficult soil conditions, things like that can all increase the cost of a project. Obviously, we try to, again, build in contingency and also consider those risks as part of our project scope when we build a budget. But there's always unknowns that we have to account for, and that's where we would be looking to come back to council if the budget was not adequate to say, hey, here's it. And it can be difficult because these projects, in order to get them done in a timely manner, we have to move, but then, we have to wait for a council meeting or whatever. But that is our preferred approach and what we would do in the future if we're able to do that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Boychuk, I just want to reiterate, I think I heard you say that this is not necessarily going to put extra pressure on the residents at this point.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So yes, to confirm, so the request is only for $93,000, which is not a huge number in the capital landscape. And it is entirely developer levy funded, which doesn't impact the taxpayer in any way, shape, or form. It will impact developers and future land or house builders and buyers, et cetera, from that perspective. Those costs roll down into the purchase price and all sorts of things like that. But there is no impact on the taxpayer from this regard.
Thank you for clarifying. Councillor Hyde.
Yeah, just through the mayor, to Mr. Boychuk, looking at the scope of things and saying, where do we draw that line where it is, I mean, certainly for $100 here, $100 there, sort of an idea is not, you know, something that comes directly to council, those type of things. But just for clarity's sake with the public, if there is going to be some cost overruns or something like that, and how soon into the process do you know, a lot of times you catch that? But let's say you're purchasing a piece of equipment and all of a sudden we've said, okay, it's going to be this amount of money and you cannot find it for that amount of money. How soon into that process do you come back to council and say, this is going to be significantly more?
Through the mayor to Councillor Hyde. So it depends on the situation. So as Mr. Lubicki spoke to, first thing we would do is look at scope. Can we change the scope within the budget, right? Can we still achieve our objectives through a different strategy or different design? Once we determine yes or no, often the answer is no, we can't. We have to, we're building a thing or buying a thing and this is the thing. We're buying a fire truck and the price escalated. As soon as we know, we come back to council and be like, this is what we need to do in order to go. We don't, as a rule, continue on and be like, oh, it's here now. Would you like to pay for this thing? And we try not to paint council into corners. That as soon as we are aware of the information, we gather the information, we assess options, bring a recommendation and an alternative whenever possible to council to address it. We don't ever want to be in a situation where, you know, all of our expenditures require council authority. We prefer to have all of that authority in place, and if things change as soon as we know, we want to get in front of you and change that authority and make you the decision makers so that we can carry on.
Yeah, thank you very much, through the mayor again. It's just a matter of transparency that we have to answer those questions, obviously, too. We're getting those phone calls if something all of a sudden comes in way over than what it's supposed to or something like that. That's coming right to us. So it's more for the community than anything else that I asked that question, and thank you for your clarity on that.
Through the mayor to Councillor Hyde, I also just want to clarify one other, we do try to proactively look at this through, I mean, we do risk, we assess all the risks up front on a project, and a lot of times what we'll do is, if we have a full project scope, we'll break it into pieces and have potentially, like, how do we, to Mr. Boychuk's point, how do we achieve our scope, but we might position the scope in a sense that we have optional items. And so if the bids come in above pricing that we can afford or above approved budgets, we can pull back and delete scope items to try to meet budget. So we do proactively try to make sure we can not have to cancel a project completely. And sometimes that happens, but ultimately we try to find a way to proactively get the objective completed without coming back for funding and meet our funding objectives. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. So I guess at this point we have a motion in front of us?
3 motions.
3 motions. 3?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Just to confirm, they can all be done all at once. If there's no changes in any of the motions, we can just have one swooping motion to approve all of them.
Councillor Penrod, did you have something you want to, or are you going to get ready for the motion? Okay.
No, the way that we have them in the agenda allows for one motion.
Okay, perfect. All right, Councillor Penrod.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm pleased to move that the endorsement of the continuation of the 2025 carry forward projects as set out in attachment 1 in the March 10th, 2026 report, 2026 budget adjustment, carry forward of the 2025 projects and adjustments be approved, and that the 2026 capital budget be amended to add the 2025 capital carry forwards as set out in attachment 1 in the March 10th, 2026 report, 2026 budget carry forwards of 2025 projects and adjustments in the amount of $11,999,652 and funded from previously approved funding source be approved, and that the 2025 capital budget be amended to increase the 2025 Water System Supervisory Control, or SCADA, radio system replacement project budget by $93,208 from $75,709 to $168,917 to be funded from developer levies be approved.
Take a breath. Any discussion around this? All right, so we'll go to a vote. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you so much. Thank you for the discussion around that, both of you. Okay, so we'll move on now to, so the next one, 6.2, we have a little bit of a change here since Councillor Natellenbos could not be with us tonight. So, Madam Clerk, I'll have you guide us through this. I'll just go ahead and make this motion.
I was just going to say, Mayor, if you just wish to make the motion, then
Sure.
council can vote on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
That consideration of the motion following notice regarding the artificial intelligence use policy be postponed until the March 24th, 2026 regular council meeting. Any discussion? Okay, we'll go to a vote. And that's carried unanimously. Sir Murray? And I think this has a bit of a explanation too.
You see some highlights here that are up on the screen. This motion has changed a little bit. I did change it myself. The reason that I've done this, council, is because it didn't indicate what the actual motion we were speaking to. So I just wanted to put some clarity in the motion that it was the previously passed motion of 260217 and that it was passed on February 10th, directing administration to provide. So everything else within the motion is correct and has not changed. So I just wanted to provide the clarity on that. And also there was a mistake originally that it should have read in the first bullet, it should have read a 52nd Avenue. So I've made that change as well. So if council's okay with those changes that I made, then Councillor Murray can go ahead and make her motion.
49th Street from 50th Avenue, 52nd Avenue. Is that correct? Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. When the original motion had been passed by you, Mayor Van der Kwak, at the time I was thinking, oh boy, maybe we should add on a few other streets. So that we can incorporate all of that real sort of heavier business area of the downtown core, where we are seeing some increase, certainly in the business area, but as well where we've got a large residential apartment building that looks to be opening up here. They moved a lot of the construction things away over the weekend. So I just figured this was an opportunity for us to address what might be coming up over the next maybe couple of years, so that we can look at where people will be parking when they're in that Main Street district, but especially in that sort of central area. So just expanding from what your original motion was to include just a few extra avenues and streets. Yes, so the motion is that the previously passed motion from the 17th of February 2026, approved by council on February 10th, 2026, directing administration to provide by the end of Q2 2026 a report on potential options, implications, and costs associated with implementing a 2-hour on-street parking limit in Centreville be amended to expand the scope of the report to also include 49th Street from 50th Avenue to 52nd Avenue and 50th Avenue from 48th Street to 55th Street.
Any discussion on this? Councillor Hyde? Thank you, Councillor Murray.
Yeah, I just wanted to, going back to the original motion, did this also, I believe, had a time limit between 9 and 5 or something of that nature? So was it 1,700 hours from 900 hours to 1,700 hours, or was it
I
always
don't
the
think
2-hour
so.
limit?
Can you confirm that, Madam Clerk? I think we just had it as a, first of all, an exploration. I know we talked about it.
The reason I say that is because there is residents that live above those places. So after 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, it might not be a great idea to have 2-hour parking after a certain time. So I'm just looking at that, saying if the original one had a time of, say, 800 to 1,700 hours or 1,800 hours, I think that would make more sense. I think we did
I'll
talk
let
about it.
administration confirm that. I don't think we actually solidified a time, but go ahead.
When I read the notice of motion and it talks about potential options, those would be, timing would be options that we'd present back to you. So we got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was noted anywhere or something like that, but obviously this is something that will be discussed and brought forward, sort of an idea, because of the residential neighborhoods that are in that neighborhood as well.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, any other discussion around this? Questions? All right. Would you want to speak to it before we go to a vote?
Sure, I'll just remind everyone that
Speak to it before we go to a vote?
Sure, I'll just remind everyone that area is free. We have a lot of parking in the local businesses, and that will likely also be growing because we have been growing as well. And just to consider, this would be a great idea, just looking to the future, even in an area that doesn't have a lot of issue, I don't think, over at that 49th Street. But I think it might be wise just to include that now, get it all as one good report, and then we can look at it and see what we want to do with that information.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the map here, 55, yeah. Well, you know, if the work is going to be done, you may as well do all of the areas at the same time, if you can do that. I have no problem with this in terms of the amendment. If there's any other questions, then we'll go to a vote. Thank you for bringing this forward, for catching that. And that carried unanimously. All right, we're going to go into 7. Before I go in there, I just wanted to make mention and acknowledge, since we are an officially bilingual city in Alberta, 2 things. One is that International Francophonie Day is designated March 20th, 2026, and 2026 actually happens to be the year of the Alberta Francophone. So that's something for us to acknowledge in our community and to be able to just to share with our residents as we are. It's part of our heritage here in Beaumont, and definitely something that we value and want to highlight. So without further ado, I'll open it up to our CAO for update.
Thank you very much, Mayor Lisa, for adding that piece that we discussed last week, and I didn't put in my update. All right, so I got a number of items here, so please bear with me. From the Chantal Berube Youth Center, February was another record-breaking month. They saw the highest February attendance in several years, more than doubled compared to 2024 and 2025. So there were recorded 541 intakes, including 427 for drop-in programming and 114 for registered programming. This is the 3rd time in the past 5 months that we've recorded the highest number of intakes in over a decade. So that's hats off to the folks at the youth center that are adjusting the programming to make it a far wider reaching audience. The muralist Josh Harnack has completed his engagement sessions with youth at the center and will now begin designing some concepts for the exterior mural, which is scheduled to begin this spring. The youth have been actively engaged and having a lot of fun participating in the design process. The Cooking Club included this time around a presentation on Black history, where the concepts of inclusion and impacts of racism were discussed with 16 youth in attendance. Early learning childcare. The City of Beaumont's childcare services partnered with Childcare Licensing, who will be facilitating an information session on the prevention of missing children in childcare. All rural child care centers will be able to sign up and attend this session as well. We've also partnered with the Access Support and Participation, ASAP program, through Kids Included. It's a free 2-year Alberta initiative for licensed childcare providers. The program provides professional learning and on-site coaching to support the pyramid model framework, focusing on social, emotional learning, inclusive practices, cultural recognition, and trauma-informed care. Building programming and strengthening relations with the community. Building programming and strengthening relations with the community partners. Parents attended the weekly Stay and Play program, and the You're a Great Dad support group continues to meet monthly. The team has also attended the Family Day event at BSRC, connecting with nearly 400 residents. Staff continue supporting subsidized counseling applications and are hosting a volunteer income tax program in March and April for eligible residents. Economic development, yours and my favorite, the e-scooters are coming back. So the company has advised that the e-scooter service is planned to relaunch during the week of March 15th. That's pretty early in my weather calendar, but we'll see what happens. City staff will be reminded of the established process for reporting any concerns, and will be prepared to assist residents with frequently asked questions, and we'll get some information out to the residents as well before then. Over to infrastructure. March 9th, the storm response and debris clearance, and I sent an email out earlier today. Following those winds on the weekend, we mobilized a crew first thing Monday morning to clear debris and open an entire open space network. This included the recovery of various street signs, a street light cover, as well as the removal of a large tree that had fallen on a trail. A contractor has been authorized. That sign on 50th Street has blown over, the electronic sign, so they'll have to repair that digital message board and other signs that were blown over. Probably the worst, and there's a picture up there which you can't see because it's pretty small, is showing the photo below, and that we lost one of the dugout roofs at the Four Seasons baseball park. We're confident we'll get estimates in place and have it replaced before the baseball season. A lot of this stuff is covered under insurance, and operations and finance will work together to see what fits where. Thankfully, nobody was injured that we know of. We received no emergency calls during that day, so that's a good thing. So thank you, everybody. Snow clearing and ice control crews are currently navigating alleyways citywide to break up ice pack and improve driving conditions. Getting down to bare asphalt is not realistic, but what we're trying to do is get rid of some of the large volumes of ice, and we've had different types of equipment out there in order to do that, and see if we can't minimize as these temperatures start to rise. Fleet update, we welcomed 2 new skid steers, part of the 2026 budget. One skid steer will replace an existing one, and the other is, that's reached the end of life, but the other is an addition that council approved to, that deals with the growing operational demands across the city. We've talked a lot at budget about delivering service and meeting our service levels, and we were very clear that we've been unable to do that because of the significant growth in our city, and this is an example of how this council is changing that trend, and we're getting more equipment and more people. Contractor webinar was held on February 27th for the Clean Energy Improvement Program. City website has been updated. It remains on track for a March 24th launch. This does not cost the city anything, but residents can take advantage of it. It's through Alberta municipalities. So we urge people that are interested in doing some of those improvement projects to go to our website and sign up. ELCC heating outage, we had at the early learning childcare, we had an unexpected failure on Monday morning with the heating equipment, so we weren't able to open as scheduled. The electrical component had failed and required replacement. Repairs were completed mid-morning, and the facility was opened shortly after. And beginning today, if I recall, there are lane closures, and there will be at the intersection of Larev Drive and 50th Street, and that's to facilitate traffic signals being installed on that piece of roadway. This work is being done by the developer. The lane closures are anticipated to be required until the middle of next month, and then with the signals operational by early May. Last item is planning and development. As directed by council, a construction task force was put together, municipal enforcement, planning and development, and communications, and they began a coordinated enforcement work on Sunday, March 1st to ensure builders are complying with all applicable bylaws. Enforcement has been focused on waste bin requirements, site cleanliness, sidewalk accessibility, and public safety. During the first week of enforcement, 42 tickets were issued, along with 26 notices to remedy were also issued. The ticket is a fine. The notice to remedy is also required, and it gives them 48 hours to clean up the site, or there'll be further tickets. Task force was able to conduct inspections in 5 neighborhoods with active construction, including Triumph, Azure, Elan, Danzero, and Egelmont. But that said, with the warm weather, and we're going to see a bunch more snow melt, it's going to uncover some more debris. So we're going to be on top of it and monitor those sites closely. And we've been in communication with the builders, and they are well aware that we're out there looking around. That's all I had. That was a mouthful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe as information, or no, we don't need to do that. Okay, thank you so much, CEO, for that update. Don't need to do that. Okay, thank you so much, CEO, for that update. And with that, we will go into our Section 8, new councillor inquiries.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a couple of new inquiries. I'll just pop them up here on the screen. When you see your name, you can go ahead and read out your inquiry.
Please provide any information on any policies, guidelines, or criteria that are used to evaluate and approve facility rental requests from individual groups or organizations seeking to book city-run facilities. Councillor Hyde.
Yes, please provide information on the cost and implications associated for installing the following. No parking signs at every Canada Post mailbox, clearly indicating the specific fine for the violation. No littering signs on the RTO road boundaries of RR 241, RR 243, and Township Road 510, clearly indicating the specific amount for the violation.
This evening.
Thank you. And
I
notices of motion?
I do not have any new notice of motions this evening.
Okay, perfect. And I think at this point, we are done our regular meeting and we will move into closed session. We'll have to do a motion. No, you want to?
I do have a motion that a councillor would like to make. I'll pop it up on the screen, and if the councillor wants to go ahead and speak to their motion.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go to you again.
Thank you to Lead Services for helping me navigate how to do this here tonight. So I'll make my motion, then I'll speak to it briefly. I move that the previously adopted agenda be amended by adding new business under closed session, Beaumont Events, pursuant to Access to Information Act, Section 29. Just a quick statement.
Yes.
For transparency tonight, I feel that there's an emerging issue that is time sensitive that we need to discuss with administration, and which is why I'm asking for council's support tonight to add this as a new business item under closed session. So thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, I did want to note that this vote does need a 2/3 vote to pass to add this new business item to the agenda.
So we need 4 of us.
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion?
That's good for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go into a vote. And that carried unanimously. I'll go ahead and do that. That council move into closed session at 6:59 pursuant to the Access to Information Act, Sections 19, 26, 29, and 30. Any discussion? And we'll vote. So for the public watching, we will be going into closed session, which means the live stream will stop